All right, so we got the moon currently swimming in Cancer where it's feel comfortable and of course where it's familiar at home, privacy, domestic natures. So it's all about home and family during this time, and of course the individuals that you have a closer connection with, the individuals that you want a comfortability, safety, and security plateau with. Now in this perspective, about to be in Virgo season. So we playing at least a little bit of cusp energy at the moment. We're dealing with visions, we're dealing with practicality, and of course we're dealing with emotions, current emotional currents at this point. So of course it's a pretty much a good time to start getting yourself ready and prepared towards harvestation season because after harvestation season it's gonna be all about cuffing season. AKA it's gonna be too cold. You need someone to cuff with, you need something to cuddle with. It's teddy bear. So someone that you have a romantic love affair with during this time. And after that, once you do that cuffing season, you're gonna have to get into that stroking season. Feel me? Scorpio season. Of course, you're gonna have to get into your Sagittarius season, looking at the bigger picture, and of course, expanding above your horizons. What the person that you had been stroking with, or someone or something that has a bigger perspective or a bigger vision that you can kind of like see the grass is green on the other side with. And after that, you're gonna have to come up with your status, Capricorn season, aka your kneecaps. And after that, you're gonna have to get associative when it comes to Aquarius season. And after that, you're gonna have to go back into your dreams, imaginations, and fantasies, and of course, get ready for the new birth of spring, Aries season. Now, when the moon basically being in Cancer at this point, it's all about reacting and responding towards a love, nurture, caring, or comfortability during this time. Making sure that you're comfortable, making sure that your emotional stance is in good natures. This way, with you in that perspective, this way, when the moon going to Leo, you'll be able to actually express yourself in a way where you're going to basically be seen in the right perspective and not be seen in the wrong perspective during that phase. So we kind of like dealing with a sextile, semi-sextile during this perspective. But that means you need to go ahead and, of course, read what you sow during this time. It's going to be the last day of Leo season, and we're gonna start making our way towards the Virgo season, putting practicality, putting consistency. We're gonna be basically dealing with a grand Earth trine for the rest of the remainder, dealing with these energies and these perspectives and these currents. So this is pretty much a wonderful time to go ahead and, of course, start putting in work, start being consistent, start focusing on your seeds, start making sure that you are organizing and constructing your seeds, making sure you're watering the right seeds, the right fruits, the right vegetables, making sure that you ain't got the wrong shit or the wrong individuals that's in your space. Because during this time, you need to actually look into the picture to make sure that you're on the right phase and the right ship where you're moving and sailing perfectly well when you're not in a situation where you got a bunch of dead weight and of course a bunch of bad baggage is on your back. You want to make sure your book bag, aka don't really explode, you make sure your backpack is all right. You don't want to have no skunk in. Now, the opposing energy is going to be Pluto and Capricorn at the moment, being that it's in retrograde. So, of course, you're going to be basically dealing with a transformation during this perspective, and it's going to be the other side of dealing with Cancer and Capricorn at the moment. You also got Jupiter and Aries, so of course that's retrograde, and it's also squaring the moon at the moment. And we also going to be basically dealing with these heavy currents and heavy flows during this time when we get into retrograde. The whole world is about to be into a retrograde, basically with all these planets and all these planetary alignments. So you got to make sure that you're in a perspective of gravitating towards nurturing the right seeds, the right equipment, the right ways of going about things when it comes to your life, and of course taking care of your responsibilities, taking care of your duties, your obligations, and getting serious, and of course sobering yourself up to make sure that you're on the right perspective. And of course, today is Monday, the moon day, the comfortability. So this is the day that you need to, focus on some form of commitment of getting comfortable and getting, secured and getting yourself prepared and ready. Feel me? Because when after that, once we get into Tuesday is all about your passions, your motivations, and of course your intent. Now, of course, after that, it's going to be Wednesday. So it's the collective ideas, which is communication and Mercury day. And after that, you're going to basically be going through experiences when it comes to spirituality on a Thursday. And after that, we're going to be basically Friday. Friday, the day you get fried. But don't get too fried because Saturday is the day of you incorporating, of course, getting yourself sober and resting up and, of course, getting prepared for Sunday to pretty much go all out and express yourself. So it's all about expressing yourself and making it shine light on the areas where you need to go ahead. Of course, to participate in these energies that's correlated with your chakras and your internal wills on a day-to-day perspective. Now, we got the moon in Cancer right now, so of course, it's all about making sure that you're building your currency up and, of course, coming up with a new way to create your own vibe when it comes to your surroundings, the individuals that's in your life, and the way you correlate, of course, correspond when it comes to these energies and coming together, building, making sure that you're in the right perspectives when you are dealing with these ties. For me, it's all about current ties. During this perspective, it's all about that rotation, that 360, making sure that you're rotating in the right waters, the right waves, the right ships, the right sails. Make sure that your water is clean. For me, get you a thing of water, have it right there so you can kind of like utilize your cup with whatever you're drinking and whatever you're digesting, and of course whatever you're intaking. Because what you're digesting and what you're intaking, and of course what you're swallowing, the homo, is basically what you're creating on the outside. So you want to make sure that you're swallowing clean water, water that you can kind of like play in, water that you can kind of like soak in and nurturing and healing on this perspective. So you want to make sure that you're doing all that during this time. This way, when this moon does move, you'll be able to now, the areas in the house that you have cancer in is going to be the area and location where you need to go ahead and, of course, be rejuvenated. Make sure you're doing your protection spells. Make sure you're sobering up. Make sure you're collecting the seeds that you planted when the moon was waxing in Capricorn. And make sure that you are harmonious natures. Now, if this is in your first house, you need to come up with a new way of creating your own personal vibe of dealing with love and nurturing and caring about yourself or the individual that's in your personal life. Now, the individuals that's in your personal life, you're going to know if these individuals belong within your life, aka your seventh house, Pluto and Capricorn. Do you need to take power, control, and transform the way you relate towards these individuals, or are they going to do it towards you? So that's going to be the equipment and, of course, the layover that you're going to be basically dealing with during this time. Now, if you got this in your second house, the things that you build on, the things that you value, or the things that you are comfortable with. Now, this is the house where Cancer is exalted. So you're gonna basically know what you basically need to be doing during this house. Now in this house, be careful. You're gonna be basically dealing with a Pluto and Capricorn in your eighth house, which means this is gonna be some whole lot of deep transformations behind the scenes, private energies, secret enemies, or secret individuals that's pretty much secretly plotting on you during that time too. Or you could basically be doing the same, or this is just the energy that's going to be basically playing out during that time. So be aware of that. Make sure that you're transforming, and of course, clearing up all the baggage. Make sure you're valuing the right things, the right people, places, and things, or make sure that you're being valued by the right people, places, and things during the time, so you can kind of like keep moving forward. Now, if you got to see your third house, you can be placed into a circumstance situation of coming up with a new way of thinking and communicating about how you feel when it comes to expressing yourself, your feelings, your emotions, or your connection towards your environment or your surroundings or the individuals that's within it. All the individuals and the people, places, and things that's in your circle are individuals that you can love, nurture, and care, or these are individuals that you need to go ahead and, of course, Pluto and Capricorn take power and control, aka transform your way of expanding and experiencing and getting away from the people, places, and things in your environment, so you can kind of at least bring the right individuals around you when it comes to your environmental space. Now, if you got this in your fourth house, it's home and it's comfortable here. So this is all about coming up with a new way of vibing, of dealing with home, love, nurture, care towards the people, places, and things, your home, your family, or come up with a new way of protecting your home and family, or coming up with a new way of kind of like getting situated during this time. Now you're gonna know what you're going to basically be needing to do when it comes to this house, because you're going to go through a Pluto and Capricorn in your 10th house, which means you need to take power and control of your status or having the right status during the time when it comes to dealing with these responsibilities and duties and obligations of work, home, or business or career and goals. This is going to basically be the outcast for you for these couple of days. So, of course, you need to go ahead and, of course, balance this out and try not to blend too much of these. Learn how to have these things separate so you can move accordingly. Now, when it comes to Cancer in your fifth house, this is coming up with a new way of dealing with your feelings and emotions and the way you express yourself when it comes to your love, your romance, and your fantasies. Of course, the things that entertain you or the things you entertain, of course, have fun and enjoyment in that perspective. Now, you need to go ahead and, of course, deal with your Pluto and Capricorn in your 11th house, which means you need to transform the things you associate yourself with or the things you are attached to. You need to learn how to let some of these things go so you can actually get in your creative endeavors. You may basically be getting caught up into a soul tie in the things that you associate yourself with, which can kind of like, like blur out your fifth house during the time. So I don't allow that. And if you got to see your sixth house, you need to come up with a new way of loving and nurturing and caring and coming up with a new way of dealing with your feelings, emotions, emotional stance towards your work, health routines, and things that you're doing in comfortability states, day-to-day perspective. And watch out, you need to take power control of your dreams, your subconscious, and how you feel on the inside. Because if you get your subconscious blurred out with your sixth house. It's gonna kind of like put you into illusions on the sign. You want to go through that, so you want to make sure you're clearing this energy out and making sure these things is kind of like light as a feather. Now, if you got this in your seventh house, you need to come up with a new way of having a loving, nurturing, and caring and emotional relatability when it comes to the relationships and the way you relate to those individuals. Do you need to care for these individuals, or are these individuals caring for you? And you already know that. Well, you need to have to go to a power and control issue when it comes to dealing with your Pluto and Capricorn in your first house. Transform the people, places, and things that's in your personal life. You personally get your shit right. Now, if you got this in your eighth house, it kind of like it's sleep here, so it kind of like falls here. So you need to come up with a new way of loving and nurturing and caring about your emotional deepness and your emotional connection with yourself, or someone that you have a deeper connection with. And watch out, you need to have to take power and control over the things that you truly admire and value. You need to transform these things, let these things go, or it's going to transform you. You got to see in ninth house, you need to come up with a new way of coming up with an emotional connection when it comes to looking at the bigger picture, when it comes to your experiences, your beliefs, and of course your morality. Watch out, you may have to transform it, and the individual that's in your environment, your surroundings, aka you can't take your environment or surroundings with you, so you have to leave this shit here, transform it, and move along when it comes to your ninth house and expand it. Now, if you got to see in 10th house, it's kind of like debilitated here. What you need to do here is have a love and nurturing and caring connection when it comes to your status, what you're known for, and of course your business, your career, your goals. Now, watch out, you may have to transform certain things that you have dealing with comfortability and privacy, aka home family. You may have to let certain these individuals go as they may not basically be in the process of or substance of supporting what you got going on when it comes to your status. Now, if you got to see your 11th house, you need to come up with a new way of loving and nurturing and caring about your things. You associate yourself with your friends, your groups, your acquaintances, and shit like that. Now, be careful. You have to take power, control over the things that you are bringing fun and enjoyment. You can't bring the fun and enjoyment when it comes to your groups. Everybody gotta, have their part and take. Now, if you got this in your 12th house, you need to come up with a new way of loving and nurturing and caring about your dreams and take power, control over your 6th house.